probably looking at my eyes.
How did that happen?
Well, have you ever heard of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, the UFC?
That's the bloody thing they're trying to ban.
This guy is the best he has ever seen.
Do you hate each other when you fight?
Absolutely not.
Hey, I'm Reggie Ponder, The Real Critic, and this week's movie is The Smashing Machine. What's it about? Mark Kerr, played by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, is one of the pioneers of mixed martial arts in the UFC. This is the story of how he and Mark Coleman, played by Ryan Bader, battled through the early years of the sport, doing what they loved and trying to make a living. Through drugs, competitors, different organizations, and their personal relationships, The Smashing Machine pays tribute to how they helped to establish what is now one of the biggest sports in the world. Who's in it? Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Emily Blunt, and Ryan Bader. What's to like? As an origin story, this film is an important one, allowing us to learn about two of the pioneers of the sport and how what we see today in MMA has transformed for what these guys were doing in the developmental years of the sport. Essentially, this is a love letter to MMA. It showcases the thrills, the spills, and the kills. The thrills of the sport and the adrenaline of the fighting and winning are on full display. Both men admit that the competition was exhilarating and a high like no other. The spills of the sport with injuries, recovery, and interpersonal relationships. We get to see the very toxic relationship between Kerr and his girlfriend Dawn Staples, played by Emily Blunt. And the kills, as in the brutality of the sport, the devastating nature of what believing in the sport does to relationships, and the exploitation of the fighters by the leading organizations is all on full display. Now, the love letter extends to the love between two men and their teams. It is beautiful to watch these combatants care for each other, yet stay focused to defeat each other. The two Marks were like brothers, willing to fight for the glory, but rooting for each other all along the way. And while Mark Kerr and Dawn were frequently combatants in life, it was also clear that they loved each other deeply. All of this is an exposition of love in wrestling, the sport, as well as in life. Amazingly, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson didn't look like The Rock or like he was playing himself, and that helped to make this story believable, given his close proximity to the sport of wrestling. It is clear he put in the work to transform his body as well as to elevate his portrayal of Mark Kerr. The chemistry between Johnson and Bader is memorable, and the relationship between Johnson and Blunt was explosive, as explosive as the action inside the ring. What's not to like? Johnson and Blunt brought a rawness to their characters that, while providing a peek inside their relationship, it was a bit off-putting. It made me totally dislike Blunt's character, which I suspect was probably the goal. What's not to like? Johnson and Blunt brought a rawness to their characters that, while providing a peek inside their relationship, it was still a bit off-putting. It made me dislike Blunt's character, which I suspect was probably the goal. As an athlete myself, I couldn't understand how Dawn couldn't grasp the competitive nature of the sport and how Kerr needed to focus on the fight, especially hours before he was set to enter the ring. The filmmakers, they do a great job of presenting their conflict, but they might have leaned too much into that turmoil than the sport itself. The fight scenes for me are serviceable, but if you are going to see these dynamic action scenes, you'd be better off going to the Professional Fighters League or the PFL, which, if you don't know, is a few steps down from the crown jewel, the UFC. While The Smashing Machine is a solid tribute to these pioneers, it really doesn't do much more than introduce them, and I'm not sure most of us will remember their names, let alone this film. My rating? The film has a lot of wrestling, but the techniques they use to grapple eventually made me want to tap out. I checked this one out at home. I'm giving it 2 reels. I'm on most social media as The Real Critic, that's REEL, and I'll see you next time.